The alarm did not blink. It screamed, filling every corridor of the ship with a sound that made teeth ache, and Captain Ellen Marsh felt the floor tilt under her boots before anyone said a word. "Hull breach, deck 4, said a voice through the comm, flat and fast. "Reactor casing cracked. Radiation climbing." Ellen grabbed the rail beside her chair. "How long until it goes critical?" 6 minutes, said Peter Doyle, the chief engineer, already running down the corridor toward the reactor bay, his boots slamming against the metal floor. "Maybe less." 6 minutes. 6 minutes to save a ship carrying 211 people, most of them still asleep in their cabins, unaware that the vessel around them was about to tear itself apart. Ellen keyed the ship-wide comm. "This is the captain. Brace for emergency maneuvers. All crew to stations." She turned to her navigator, a sharp-eyed woman named Grace Whitfield, whose hands were already moving across the controls before Ellen finished speaking. "Grace, get us away from the debris field. If that reactor blows, I don't want us sitting next to it." "Already on it," Grace said, her voice tight. "But Captain, there's a problem. The engines aren't responding the way they should. Something in the drive line is fighting me." "Fighting you how?" "I don't know. It's like the whole rear section is locking up." Ellen felt her stomach drop. A ship that could not move was a ship that could not run, and a reactor about to fail did not care whether anyone was ready. Down in the reactor bay, Peter Doyle skidded through a hatch and found the casing glowing an angry orange, veins of light running along its surface like cracks in dry earth. Beside him, an alien engineer named Kalis Thorne stood frozen, staring at the readings on the wall panel with wide, pale eyes. "This does not match any failure model I have studied," Kalis said. "The casing should have held. Your reactors are not built like ours. I do not understand the tolerances." "No time to explain them," Peter said, pulling open a panel beneath the reactor. Underneath it was a tangle of wiring that looked nothing like the neat, symmetrical designs Kalis had trained on for decades. "Grab that red lever and pull it the second I tell you." "What does it do?" "It vents the coolant straight into the casing. It's not supposed to be possible to do that manually. I built it in anyway." Kalis stared at him. "Your own government banned this kind of modification years ago. They said it was too unpredictable." "Yeah," Peter said, sweat running down his neck as he worked. "And right now, unpredictable is the only thing standing between us and 200 people dying in their sleep." Above them, Ellen watched her console fill with warnings, one after another, each one worse than the last. "Captain," Grace said, "there's another problem. The debris field isn't debris. Something is moving inside it." Ellen's blood went cold. "Define moving." "I mean it's changing course to intercept us. Whatever caused that first explosion, it might not be finished." A shape emerged from the drifting wreckage outside the viewport, dark and jagged, catching the light of a nearby star. It was not a ship anyone recognized, and it was closing fast. "All hands, brace," Ellen said, gripping her chair as the vessel outside fired something that streaked toward them like a spear of light. The ship rocked violently. Sparks burst from a panel near the ceiling, and somewhere below, a scream echoed through the halls before cutting off into static. "Report!" Ellen shouted. "We took a hit on deck 6, came a voice, strained and breathless. "Hull's holding, barely. We've got injuries." Ellen forced her voice steady. "Peter, how much time on that reactor?" 4 minutes, he called back, his hands buried in wires, sweat stinging his eyes. "Kalis, pull the lever now." Kalis hesitated only a second, before yanking the lever down with both hands. Coolant hissed through hidden pipes, and the orange glow along the casing dimmed slightly, but did not disappear. "It's not enough," Kalis said, panic creeping into their voice. "The temperature is still rising." "It's not supposed to be enough on its own," Peter said, ripping open another panel. Behind it sat a small, oddly shaped device that looked handmade rather than manufactured, wires wrapped around a core of metal in a pattern that made no obvious sense. "This is the part your council really hated." "What is that?" "A second reactor. Tiny one. Built to switch on the moment the main one starts failing. It takes over life support and basic systems, long enough for us to eject the main core before it detonates." Kalis stared at him, as though he had lost his mind. You hid an entire second reactor inside the first one? That defies every safety principle we teach. It defies the ones you teach, Peter said, flipping a switch. The small device hummed to life, and a soft blue light spread across the casing, calming the orange glow bit by bit. It doesn't defy physics. Just your comfort level. On the bridge, the ship shuddered again, as another blast struck the hull, this time closer to the bridge itself. Grace fought the controls, trying to angle the ship away from the attacking vessel, while still keeping distance from the failing reactor. Captain, I can get us clear of the debris, but not both threats at once, Grace said. I need a decision. Head toward the wreckage field, Ellen said. Whatever is attacking us won't want to fly through its own scattered ship parts. It'll slow them down. That's going to shake us hard. Do it. Grace pushed the controls forward, and the ship dove toward the drifting metal shards, weaving between them as the attacking vessel opened fire again, most of its shots glancing off floating debris instead of the hull. The ship rattled and groaned, metal creaking under the strain, but it held. Down in the reactor bay, Peter watched the readings shift from red to a cautious yellow. Ejecting the main core now, he said, slamming his palm against a control marked with a warning label that had clearly been added after the original design was finished. A deep thud rolled through the floor as the failing reactor core separated from the ship and drifted away into open space, still glowing, but no longer connected to anything that mattered. Core is away, Peter said into the comm, breathing hard. Secondary reactor holding steady. We've got power. Copy that, Ellen said, relief flooding her voice for half a second before the next problem arrived. Grace, status on our pursuer. They stopped firing, Grace said, staring at her screen. I think they lost track of us in the debris. They're pulling back. The bridge went quiet except for the low hum of the ship settling into a steadier rhythm. Ellen let out a breath she had been holding for what felt like an hour. Everyone, stand down from red alert, she said. Peter, get me a full damage report as soon as you can breathe again. Give me a minute, Peter said, sliding down against the wall of the reactor bay, his hands still shaking. Beside him, Kalis lowered themselves slowly to the floor as well, staring at the small glowing device that had just saved every life on board. You built a hidden reactor inside a reactor, Kalis said quietly, and it worked. Yeah. Your council banned humans from designing ships like this. They said it was too dangerous, too unpredictable to certify. Peter managed a tired smile. Funny thing about danger, sometimes the safest option looks the most reckless from the outside. Kalis shook their head slowly, still watching the blue light pulse steady and calm where an explosion should have already ended everything. I do not think I will report this modification. Why not? Because if I do, they will ban it everywhere. And I have a feeling we are going to need more ships built like this one before this is over. Peter closed his eyes for a moment, letting the hum of the small reactor settle his nerves. Outside, the wrecked shape that had chased them faded into the darkness between the stars, and the ship that should not have survived kept moving forward, carrying its 211 passengers safely through the black, thanks to a piece of engineering the rest of the galaxy had once called impossible.